These are 10 herbs you can grow hydroponically without a single grain of soil, using nothing more than a glass of water and a sunny windowsill. And if you've ever spent $4 on a sad little package of basil at the supermarket, only to watch it turn black in your fridge 3 days later, this might just change how you think about fresh herbs forever. Before we dig in, I'm curious, what's the one herb you buy the most that always seems to go bad before you can use it all? Drop it in the comments below, and let's see which herb tops the list. Here's something that surprises most people. The majority of plant nurseries don't actually start their herbs from seed. They start them from cuttings, because it's faster, more reliable, and frankly, more profitable. The method they use is almost identical to what you can do at home with a mason jar and filtered tap water. No special equipment, no greenhouse, no degree in botany. Just water, light, and a little patience. Growing herbs in water, sometimes called water propagation, simple hydroponics, or more specifically, the Kratky method, ranks among the most beginner-friendly ways to keep fresh herbs on hand all year long. The Kratky method, developed by University of Hawaii researcher Bernard Kratky, is a passive, non-circulating form of hydroponics that requires no pumps, no electricity, and no complicated setup. What you're doing with your mason jar on the windowsill is, in the most literal sense, applied horticultural science. And when I say all year, I mean it. Your indoor water garden doesn't care about frost dates, doesn't care about your hardiness zone, and doesn't care that it's the middle of January. As long as you've got a window and a glass, you're in business. But it's not just about convenience. There are real measurable advantages here. Herbs grown hydroponically can grow 25 to 50% faster than their soil-grown counterparts, because they're receiving nutrients directly through the water instead of having to search for them through a root system buried in dirt. There's no soil to keep moist, which means no fungus gnats, no mold, and virtually no pest problems. And here's one for the budget-conscious gardener. Homegrown herbs cost roughly 12 to 38 cents per usable cup, compared to $1.49 to over $4 a cup at the grocery store. Over a season, that adds up fast. So let's get into the 10 best herbs for water growing, how to propagate each one, and the critical mistakes you need to avoid. A sobering statistic to keep in mind, over 78% of failed cuttings in home propagation trials between 2019 and 2024 came down to just 3 causes: stagnant water, leaves submerged below the waterline, or waiting too long to manage the roots after they developed. All of those are completely preventable, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how. Let's start with the king of the kitchen herb garden. Vegetable 1. Basil. Basil is arguably the most popular and rewarding herb to grow in water. It loves warmth, it loves light, and it roots fast. Whether you're working with Genovese basil, the classic Italian variety, Thai basil with its slightly anise-like flavor, or lemon basil for something a little more unusual, the propagation method is the same. To get started, take a 4-inch cutting from a mature basil plant that hasn't gone to flower yet. This part is important. Once basil flowers, it puts its energy into seed production, and your cutting won't root as vigorously. Cut just below a leaf node, that little bump on the stem where new leaves emerge, and strip off the lower leaves from the internode sections so only the top few remain. Drop it in a glass of clean water, making sure no leaves sit below the surface. Here's a tip specific to basil. It's sensitive to chlorine, which is common in municipal tap water. You can use filtered water, collected rainwater, or simply fill a glass with tap water and let it sit out for 24 hours. The chlorine will naturally dissipate. Expect roots in 1 to 4 weeks. Once your basil is established, it'll need around 14 to 16 hours of light daily, so a south-facing window or a simple LED grow light will serve you well. One more thing about basil. It has unusually high sugar exudates, which means the water gets dirty fast and breeds bacteria quickly. Change the water every 48 hours, not once a week, every 48 hours. That single habit will save more basil cuttings than any other trick I can share. Vegetable 2, mint. If basil is the king, mint is the tenacious survivor that just refuses to quit. Mint roots so aggressively that most gardeners who grow it in soil spend half their time trying to stop it from taking over the entire garden bed. In water, that aggressive energy works entirely in your favor. Take a cutting at least 6 inches long from an established mint plant, trim it above a leaf node, strip the lower leaves from the internode sections, and place it in fresh water. In as little as 10 days, you'll see roots forming along the submerged stem. Spearmint, peppermint, and chocolate mint all work beautifully for this. Mint is forgiving, but it does have one quirk in water culture. It will eventually become root-bound, even in a jar. When you see roots swirling around the bottom in a thick mat, either trim the roots back by about a third to give the plant a reset, or transfer it to a larger container. One caution: mint rots almost instantly if the nodes are buried deeper than about 1 centimeter below the waterline. Keep it shallow. Vegetable 3, oregano. Oregano is a staple of Italian and Mediterranean cooking, and it requires surprisingly little fuss to grow in water. Trim a section 3 to 5 inches long, remove the leaves from the bottom portion, and place the stem in water in a bright location with plenty of indirect sunlight. The direct, scorching afternoon sun can actually overheat the water and stress the cutting. Something useful to know about oregano: it belongs to the same plant family as basil, mint, rosemary, sage, and thyme, the Lamiaceae family, sometimes called the mint family. These herbs share similar light needs and thrive in the same pH range of 5.5 to 6.5. So if you're setting up a little windowsill water garden, you can group all of them together in the same spot, and they'll be perfectly happy neighbors. Quick question for you while we're halfway through. Are you planning to start your water garden with just one herb, or go all in with a whole windowsill collection? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your setup plans. Vegetable 4, rosemary. Rosemary is one of the most aromatic herbs you can grow, but it's also one of the slowest to root in water. Patience is the name of the game here. Take 4 to 6 inch cuttings from the flexible, green tips of the plant. This part is critical. Woody brown stems won't root well. You want the fresh, pliable green growth. Strip all the lower leaves so nothing sits below the waterline, because submerged rosemary leaves are a magnet for bacterial growth that can clog the stem and kill the cutting. Place your cuttings in fresh water and change it every few days. In 4 to 6 weeks, you should start to see roots forming. It's slower than basil or mint, and that's completely normal. Resist the temptation to check by pulling the cutting out of the water. Disturbing slow developing cuttings often sets them back even further. Vegetable 5, thyme. Thyme is a low-growing herb with tiny, fragrant leaves, and both English thyme and lemon thyme do well in water propagation. The key with thyme is to cut sprigs at least 6 to 8 inches long. Because the plant is so small, people tend to take short cuttings, and those simply don't have enough stem length to root properly. Remove any leaves that would be underwater. Place the sprigs in a clean container and wait about a month. Thyme is slow but steady. Once rooted, thyme sprigs can last months in water, giving you a continuous supply of that warm, savory flavor that makes roasted vegetables and soups come alive. Vegetable 6. Sage. Sage has a reputation for being a little tricky to propagate, but water propagation actually delivers a slightly higher success rate than soil propagation, especially if you're not using rooting hormone. If you do want to use rooting hormone, a light dip of the cut end before placing it in water can meaningfully increase your success rate, particularly for slower rooting herbs like rosemary and sage. Softwood cuttings taken in the spring, when the plant is bursting with fresh growth, work best. The technique mirrors the other herbs in the mint family. Take a healthy cutting, strip the lower leaves, and place it in clean water. Change the water regularly. Keep it in bright, indirect light, and watch for roots over the next 2 to 4 weeks. And honestly, watching the roots develop through the glass is half the fun. There's something genuinely satisfying about seeing those tiny white filaments reaching out into the water. Vegetable 7. Green onions. Green onions, or scallions, might be the single easiest food plant you can regrow in water. You don't even need to take a cutting from a growing plant. Just buy a bunch from the grocery store. Use the green tops for cooking and save the bottom 2 inches with the roots still attached. Place those stumps root side down in a glass with just enough water to cover the roots. Set them on a sunny windowsill. Within a week, you'll see new green shoots emerging from the center. Change the water every few days, and you can get a solid 3 full regrowths from a single set of bulbs before they start to get slimy and decline. 3 harvests from scraps you would have thrown in the trash. That's the kind of kitchen efficiency worth celebrating. Vegetable 8. Chives. Growing chives in water is simplicity itself. Snip what you need, and chives eagerly regrow, ready for your next culinary creation. They're perfect for garnishing everything from baked potatoes to scrambled eggs to cream cheese spreads. Like green onions, chives belong to the allium family and share that same cooperative spirit when it comes to water growing. Keep the water fresh, give them good light, and they'll reward you with a steady supply of those slender, mildly onion-flavored stems. Vegetable 9. Lemon balm. Lemon balm is a member of the mint family, and like its minty cousins, it's eager to spread and easy to propagate. It grows robustly indoors and fills your kitchen with a refreshing, citrusy scent that's genuinely mood-lifting. Take stem cuttings, place them in a dish of water, and refresh the water regularly while watching for new root growth. Now, I want to set expectations here. Lemon balm is the slowest rooter on this list. The entire process, from cutting to established new growth, takes about 2.5 months. It's a slow process, but a fascinating one to watch. If you're the kind of gardener who enjoys observing the quiet miracle of a plant building itself from nothing, lemon balm will become your meditation. Vegetable 10. Lemongrass. There's an exotic allure to lemongrass that's simply irresistible. Its citrusy, slightly floral notes are essential to Thai, Vietnamese, and other Southeast Asian cuisines, and growing it at home feels like bringing a slice of the tropics into your kitchen. Like green onions, you can start lemongrass from grocery store stalks. Cut off the bottom 2 to 3 inches from a fresh stalk and place it in a tall container with about ½ an inch of water. New shoots will grow from the center of the stalk. It's that straightforward. Keep the water fresh, give it plenty of warmth and light, and you'll have a steady supply of this extraordinary herb that would cost you a premium at any specialty grocery store. Now that you know the 10 best herbs, let's talk about the fundamentals that will make or break your success. Starting with containers. Glass jars are ideal. Mason jars, drinking glasses, narrow-mouthed vases, all work well. Whatever you choose should be heavy and sturdy enough not to topple when the herb branches are added. If you want something more purpose-built, commercial systems like the Aero Garden use this same basic principle. Water, light, nutrients, just packaged into an all-in-one countertop unit. But for most of the herbs on this list, a mason jar works just as well. Clean and sterilize your containers before use, because unsterilized containers harbor pathogens that can kill cuttings before they ever get a chance. Water quality matters just as much. Use clean, non-chlorinated water. Tap water works if you let it sit for 24 hours first. Filtered or distilled water gives you optimal results. Change the water once or twice a week for most herbs, every 48 hours for basil. That single habit prevents algae buildup, bacterial growth, and the stagnant water conditions that account for the majority of propagation failures. Light is the other major factor. Herbs need at least 6 hours of good sunlight per day, and more is better. South-facing, east-facing, or west-facing windowsills are your best spots. If natural light is limited, especially in winter, a simple full-spectrum LED grow light will fill the gap. Aim for 14 to 16 hours of light daily for the fastest growth. With optimal LED lighting and proper nutrients, some growers report growth acceleration of up to 300%. Temperature and humidity are generally the easiest variables to manage. Most herbs are happiest between 60 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, with humidity around 40 to 70%. That's a comfortable room temperature in most homes, so you likely won't need any special adjustments. When it comes to harvesting, there's one golden rule. Never take more than 1/3 of the plant at a time. This allows sufficient leaf area for the plant to continue photosynthesizing and regrowing. Harvest regularly and your herbs will actually become bushier and more productive over time. Nutrients round out the fundamentals. If you're keeping herbs in water long-term, not just rooting cuttings for transplant, add a small amount of liquid hydroponic nutrients to the water. Maintain a pH between 5.5 and 6.5 for optimal nutrient absorption, and aim for an electrical conductivity, or EC, of around 1.2 to 1.8, roughly 800 to 1,200 parts per million on a standard ppm meter. Most inexpensive combo meters measure both. Without nutrients, your herbs will survive for a while on stored energy, but they won't thrive indefinitely. Before wrapping up, a few important warnings. Not all herbs work with this method. Annual herbs like parsley, cilantro, and dill should be grown from seed. They don't propagate well from stem cuttings in water, so don't waste your time trying. Know when to call it, too. If no root nubs appear after 21 days despite good conditions, if the stem base turns brown or black and goes soft, if the water smells foul or develops a thick gelatinous film, or if the leaves yellow uniformly from the base upward, discard that cutting and start fresh with a new one. What I find remarkable about all of this is that studies have shown hydroponically grown herbs are actually more flavorful and aromatic than those grown in the field. So not only is this method easier, cheaper, and more convenient, it produces a genuinely superior product. You're getting herbs that are fresher than anything you could buy, grown without pesticides, in a system that uses less water than traditional gardening and takes up no more space than a few jars on your windowsill. Research published in the International Journal of Molecular Sciences in 2021 found that fresh herbs contain high levels of polyphenols, antioxidants that combat cell damage and inflammation and may protect against cardiovascular disease, neurodegenerative conditions, and certain cancers. The fresher the herb, the higher those polyphenol levels. And nothing is fresher than an herb you clip from a jar on your kitchen counter 30 seconds before it hits your plate. So start with one. Maybe it's basil, Genovese if you can find it. Maybe it's a bunch of green onions from the grocery store. Take a cutting, drop it in a glass of water, put it on your windowsill, and watch what happens. Because once you see those first roots reaching out into the water, once you taste that first leaf you grew yourself from nothing but water and light, you'll understand why so many gardeners never go back. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 10 herbs are you going to grow first in water? Tell me in the comments below, and if you've tried water propagation before, share how it went, so the rest of our community can learn from your experience. And if this video helped you, do me a quick favor. Give it a like. Subscribe to Plant Care Secrets TV so you never miss a growing tip, and hit that bell icon for notifications. If you'd like to support the channel even more and unlock exclusive perks, tap the join button and become a member of our growing community. Thanks so much for watching. Now go grab a glass, take a cutting, and start growing. I'll see you in the next one.